Let me start by giving a few reminders of the economic potential of Southeast Asia. Our region, taken as a whole, currently ranks as number six in the world's GDP ranking. One could argue that it is a region, it cannot be compared to countries. Yes, it's true. On the ground, we do believe that this region, looked as a whole, has some relevance, nevertheless. We currently have more than 350 million people that have reached the mass affluent level, able to spend money for digital services. More importantly, we are very excited by the young population that we have in our region. Two-thirds of our regional population is below 40 years old, and one quarter below 25. That is a massive reservoir for future consumption of digital products and services. In this region, we have 400 million people spending their time on internet. That's the size of the Western Europe population. They spend between 3 to 4 hours on social media, maybe too much, but very clearly they are tech savvy and eager to consume digital services. They do not only interact, communicate, but also transact on social media. If you look at the penetration of Facebook, which is represented on this chart, the countries are ranked according to their level of penetration of Facebook. The white bars represent Southeast Asian countries. As you can see, we spend a lot of time on Facebook. Again, as I mentioned, not only to communicate, but to transact. There are billions of dollars of spending on internet services, all sorts of platforms in our region. According to Google, Temasek, and Bain reports, in 2025, the total amount of what is called the internet economy in our region will reach 300 billion US dollars, which is basically more than 10 times of what it was in 2015. For people living underground, like myself and many other friends, we believe that this is underestimated. The reality is that the internet economy in Southeast Asia is much bigger and growing much faster than what is on this chart. We have great talent in our region. Our universities rank among the top in the world. According to some estimates, there are between 200 to 300,000 engineers graduating from Southeast Asian universities every year. We do not even count the very experienced engineers or executives coming from well-established companies joining the startup world. For example, as you may know, DBS, our Singapore bank, earned the award for being the best digital bank in the world. There are engineers leaving potentially such established companies to join the startup world. One interesting phenomenon is the ex-talent, ex-employees of large tech companies also fueling new startups and entrepreneur pipeline to grow, to build and grow new companies. Some of those entrepreneurs that were courageous and dynamic enough 8, 10, 12 years ago to launch their companies instead of going through other professional paths, they have shown they have been able to build successful companies at scale. On this chart, we try to map out the timeline and the trajectories of some of the successful Southeast Asian tech companies that have reached the unicorn or even decacorn status. Some information is not publicly available, so we tried our best to map that out from the publicly available information. Companies like PatSnap, Gojek, Tokopedia, Appier, Lazada, of course, CX Garena, have fast pace to become unicorns. Their time to become a unicorn is not much longer than the ones of US, Chinese, European unicorns or decacorns. Let me just give two examples to illustrate the ability of some of our entrepreneurs to build international companies. PatSnap is a SaaS company in the innovation analytics uh, sector. Out of their modest base in Singapore, a bit of 10 years ago, they have now expanded into China, US, and Europe, where more than 80% of their revenue is coming from, with 800 people across those geographies and 10,000 customers that they are serving. Some of them very big names from the US, Europe, and China. This company is going to role model the path towards becoming a great global category leader for many other SaaS companies coming into the pipeline of our region. ShopBack is another exceptional company. It's a consumer loyalty platform that provides additional discount to people shopping online. I still remember 6 years ago, the company starting with less than 10 people from a small office in Singapore. It now serves 10 million customers in most countries in Southeast Asia, and they have been able to expand into Taiwan, Korea, Australia. Those two examples, I hope, would give a good illustration of the ability of our entrepreneurs from Southeast Asia to go regional and global.